Hi, fifth grade. Today we are going to learn a new strategy for solving word problems. Now, these word problems are going to involve multiplication and division, which we've already learned about. And we're going to learn a process that's going to help us solve a word problem to make sure that we look at all the aspects of the question. So the strategy is called cubes. And these letters are blocked out from the side. So this should be a C to make the word circle, a U to make the word underlined, a B to make the word box, and then examine the question is E, and this should say solve the problem. That should be an S. So the letters are C-U-B-E-S to make cubes. So we're going to do all of those steps that go with each of the letters of the word cubes to help us solve this problem. So the problem says, Grandma made pies for the school bake sale. Her apple pie had 8 slices, her cherry pie had 5 slices, and her blueberry pie had 7 slices. She made 2 of each type of pie. She then placed 2 slices of pie on each plate to sell. How many plates did she have to sell? So we're going to go through all of our cube strategies. So the first thing says circle the important numbers and labels. So I see 8 slices. I see 5 slices. It kind of goes to the next line, so I'm just going to do that. 7 slices goes to the next line. And then I actually see another number, but it's written in words. It's this word 2. She has 2 of each type of pie. And then that word 2 is written in words again, but this time it has a label. 2 slices here. And those are all my numbers and the labels that go with them. Now we're going to underline the question. What are we trying to figure out? And it is, how many plates did she have to sell? Then the last thing is to box any operation clue words. That means words that help you decide whether you should add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So I don't really see a ton in this problem. I do see this word and sometimes that word and means there's 2 things together. So a lot of times that means to add. But that's really the only one I see in here. So then we're going to go on to the E part of cubes, which is examine the question. So we're going to look at this question that we underlined. How many plates did she have to sell? And do 3 things with it. What label will your answer have? So you're going to have a number, something, and then what's the label going to be? When we find the answer, what are we going to call it? Blank what's. So go ahead and pause the video if you want to write your own. It is blank plates. We're going to figure out how many plates she had. So the label is plates. Then we're going to look at what information we already have. And that's going to use those the things that we circled above. So go ahead and you can pause the video, write down what you already know about the problem. Okay, you should have something written down here already because you did it yourself. But now you can be unpaused and we're going to look at it together. We know that her apple pie has 8 slices. We know that her cherry pie, I'm just going to do cherry, has 5 slices. We know that blueberry pies have 7 slices. We know that she made 2 of each pie. That means 2 apple pies, 2 cherry pies, 2 blueberry pies. And we know 2 slices of pie on each plate. So you see how I used each of my numbers from before and I explained what that meant. So 8 slices means there's 8 slices in an apple pie. So I circled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, and that means I know 5 pieces of information. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So we know all of those things already. What do we need to figure out the problem? So in order to find out how many plates she had to sell, what do we have to find out? What do we need to solve here? So I'm saying we need to know how many pieces of each pie we have total. Like how many apple pie pieces, how many cherry pie pieces? Because we're making 2 pies. And then I also just need to know how many pieces altogether. So I want to know how many pieces of each pie, how many apple pie pieces, how many cherry pie pieces, how many blueberry pie pieces, but I also want to know how many pie pieces total, all together. So I'm just going to write That's two kind of things I want to figure out. So now that we definitely know, this is all about investigating what the problem says and what we have to do to find our answer. Now we're ready for the S in cubes, solve the problem. And you'll notice that this is a multi-step problem. We have to do a couple different things. And on the side here, it tells us our steps. So step 1 is to figure out how many slices of each type of pie she baked. And you'll notice that that was my question. I needed to figure that out. How many pieces of each pie? So if she made 8 slices in one apple pie, and she made 2 apple pies, that means there were 16 slices of apple. There were 5 slices of cherry pie, and she made 2 cherry pies. So that's 10 cherry slices. And you know what I'm realizing as I'm doing this? When we talk about each, and that word is over here, that actually is a clue to an operation word. Each usually means either multiplication or division. So that actually is an operation word over there. And then blueberry, there's 7 slices in a pie, and she made 2 blueberry pies. So that is 14 blueberry. So how many slices of each type of pie? 16 apple slices, 10 cherry slices, 14 blueberry slices. So that's one thing we had to figure out. Then, how many slices of pie did she have in total? So if she had all those pie slices, we're going to add them up. 16, 10, 14. I know 6 plus 4 is 10, and then plus 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to label it, because that's really important, 40 slices. So all together, she had 40 slices of pie. And then, when she places 2 pieces of pie on each plate, how many plates does she have? So that means on one plate, I'm just going to draw some plates here. We have 40 slices. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'd keep doing that until we got to 40 slices, and we'd have to figure out how many plates we have. Now the way we can do that is 40 divided by 2, because we're going to use that 40 up here. So 2, and we can do divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. 2 goes into 4 2 times. Multiply 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract 4 minus 4 is 0. And we have a 0 to bring down. Since we brought down, we have to go 2 goes into 0 how many times? 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. And there's nothing to bring down, so this time we can stop. So we have 20. And then we want to remember our answer label. What label would have 20 plates? Because it's how many plates did she have. So instead, we were slices up here, 40 slices of pie, but 20 plates down here. Then it says, check your work. Is your answer reasonable? So I'm going to check to make sure my division was correct by doing 20 times 2. 0 times 2 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. So that gets me back to my 40 slices of pie, which is what I got. And then is that reasonable? That means does it make sense? And I believe that it does, because if we had estimated first, which we probably should have done, I apologize, we could have estimated that 8 is about 10. That's about 10 slices. 5 we already know. 7's about 10 slices. We made 2 pies of 10 slices, that's 20. 2 pies of 20 slices, that's 40. Altogether, that's 45. So my estimate is close to 40, so that makes sense. So my answer is reasonable. And so our answer is here, 20 plates here in step 3. So you're going to use the same strategy, cubes, to solve another problem on your own. So we're going to fill these back in so we don't forget. It's C for circle, U for underline, B for box, and then E, examine the question, and then that's an S, solve the problem. So I'm going to read this out loud. It says, 5 friends went to dinner at Old Chicago. See how those are capitalized? That means it's the name of a restaurant. Each person's meal was $8. They paid with 2 $10 bills, 2 $5 bills, and 1 $20 bill. The amount they got back after they paid was the amount they tipped their waitress. How much did they tip her? So I'm going to go through a couple of these with you. Circle the important numbers and labels. This is a number word. Even though it's written in words, it's still a number. So 5 friends, $8. That dollar sign is the label. They paid, here's 2 $10 bills, 2 $5 bills. We got 2 numbers in here. And 1 $20 bill. Any other numbers? Nope. So I got numbers and labels. Now I'm going to underline the question. How much did they tip her? And then any operation clue words. There's that and word again that we talked about that usually means adding. There's that word each we talked about, which can either mean multiplication or division. Let's see. You can even say like they got back. Could help you figure out what you're supposed to do. So we're going to look at what label our answer has. So when we look at our question, how much did they tip her? Blank what? Like 6 whats? It would be dollars. What information do you have? Remember, that is going to be, you're going to write down all the information that corresponds to your numbers that you already circled. Then you're going to need to figure out what do you need to do to figure out how much they tipped her. What else do you need to figure out? And then you're going to solve the problem. There's some steps over here on this side, and I want you to do this on your own. So when you come back to school tomorrow, we should see writing here, 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 here. Lots of writing that you did on your own. Good luck, and we can't wait to talk about this tomorrow.